Amy, and I will be with you today. We are starting off the morning with some beautiful Ellies here at Live at the Waterhole. It is so good to be with you today, and we're with you all day. So, very excited about that. For those of you who don't know, this is a live and interactive show. So, please do make sure that you send through your comments and your questions. It's always one of the best parts of the day is hearing from you all. Where you are in the world, what you're enjoying about the show, any questions or comments you may have. But also just to relax and enjoy these beautiful scenes that we get to see from across Africa. All right, well, it looks like the sun is out here, Jamala. But let's see what the weather is doing across our locations. Hello, Joan. Good to hear from you. Are you sailing by any chance? No, just jokes. Good to have you with us, Joan, and I do hope that you enjoy the show today. The great thing about Live at the Waterhole or even our live safaris, we never quite know what we're going to see. So every day is a little bit different from the other. And so I'm excited to see what arrives here at Jamala. Perhaps some more herds of ellies, maybe some buffaloes. We'll just have to wait and see. Neil, yes, they are indeed. They are rusty looking. Neil, that is from the soil color. They put dust on their backs, part of what they do to help their skin and protect it. And the color of the soil around in the area is this rusty brown color, hence the elephants also being slightly that color when they have thrown the dust on their backs. I'm also looking forward to perhaps doing a little bit of birding today. We've actually had some really good days with some awesome birds, and it'll be great if we can get some other good, maybe some migrants. That's always special. Birds of prey would also be amazing. Ooh, A.M. Young. You say morning, Amy, from a cold and a bit damp Scotland. Well, very warm welcome to you, even though it is cold where you are. You have a theoretical question, and you would like to know, do you think we would still have um, mammoths, or as you like to say, woolly ellies, if things were different in our ecosystem? Ooh, A.M. Young, that is now really, I mean, like we can say, we can only theorize the answer to that. But I suppose it is possible. I think, the mammoths, the some of the skeletons or fossils that have been found have been completely frozen in ice. And perhaps if certain events of our past didn't occur, then we would have those around. In terms of, you know, human impacting whether mammoths exist or not, I don't think so. As far as my understanding is that when those animals were still alive, there was a natural phenomenon that occurred which allowed them to no longer be existing in our ecosystem. So it could be very well that that is part of the reason. So I suppose, in a way, there are different things within our ecosystem. Absolutely, if they were different, then we would still have woolly mammoths around. But there were certain global events that occurred, which, of course, we had no control over. And then I suppose they would still be alive if that were the case. As I said when we started the show, if I wondered if there were any Ellie herds kind of come down, and here some are.
Step into a world of discovery as you join Eco Training's renowned courses in the heart of Kenya's Masai Mara. These courses are the perfect way to gain a deep understanding of the African bush, even if you have limited time. Don't miss out on this incredible opportunity to experience the wild in a meaningful and life-changing way. Enroll today and embark on a transformative journey with Eco Training in Kenya's Masai Mara, the leading force in conservation education.
Well, it's lovely to see this group here at the Waterhole, everyone. Tina, you say they look so happy and relaxed. They do indeed, don't they? I think very happy to be at the water. Hopefully, we see one or two start splashing around. That's always my favorite. Melvin, you say hopefully almost pool party o'clock. Yes. I think as the day heats up, we may see more and more of that happening. Lucy, you want to know if the dirty water has any impact on the animals' lives. Lucy, it's an interesting one. These animals actually have adapted to be able to deal with the pollutants in the water, and their stomachs are a lot stronger, and they actually are fine with drinking water that is more on the dirty side. Dean, you want to know which animal has the most swag? Dean, for me, that is an easy answer. I think it is a hyena. If you've ever seen a hyena walking, I think they walk with a lot of swag. They just have this bounce to their step, and they, to me, are the have the coolest walk of any animal. Tanya, you want to know if animals get blisters? Now, Tanya, that is a very interesting question. I haven't thought of that before. But I mean, they don't wear shoes. Quite honestly, the blisters that I get are often on my feet. Um, so initially, I would want to say no, they don't really have bare skin that chafes against one another, and that's sort of what blisters are from, is that wearing away of a particular spot that heats up and forms that bubble um, from friction. But look, anything's possible. I mean, I suppose there are some animals that might have a bare skin, that might have chafing that occurs, but because they don't wear clothing, or sometimes we get it from different sort of, maybe certain pairs of pants or shirts or things like that that rub in a certain spot over and over again, and we get chafed. So I don't think animals would get blisters. However, perhaps something gets stuck on their skin. Oh, that's an idea. Maybe a twig or a piece of something in nature that maybe gets wedged between their hooves or between their paws or in their ear or something like that, and starts rubbing against, and then it might form a blister. I'm sure that is a possibility. But interesting, Tonya. This is why I love this show, because people, all of you at home, think of things that I've never thought of before. And so we get to learn and find out and think of things that perhaps we haven't before. So thank you for that question, Tonya.
Whether you're a retiree, a recent graduate, or a professional seeking a change, the 55-day Eco Training program is for you. With the coaching of experienced training guides, you'll embark on an unforgettable adventure that will give you a deep understanding of wildlife, conservation, and African cultures. If you sign up locally or internationally using this promo code, you'll receive 2,000 Rand off.
Well, we have a beautiful herd of zebras who have joined this Ellie bull here at Jamala. They're taking the chance to come down for a drink before all the other elephants arrive. Not yesterday, but earlier, sort of towards the end of last week, we had quite a few groups of animals coming down to try and drink. And there were so many elephants around this waterhole. You would not believe it if you didn't watch it all last week, or perhaps you are new to the show. Um, there was about between 60 and 80 elephants around this waterhole. And there was a very, very cheeky young bull elephant. And he would always chase away the zebras, the warthogs. There was an gemsbok that also got chased. So today, the zebras can have a drink in peace. Brian, you want to know how long this waterhole has been here? Um, Brian, Madikwe Game Reserve was, if I am correct, formed in 1994, but this waterhole could very well have been here before then. Um, Usually, game reserves are farms that are bought up or then allocated as a sort of a reserve type of property. This is a private game reserve, so it will have owners within the land, and there's different lodges which private guests can stay on. So, I mean, it could have been here forever. So, in terms of being sort of a natural uh, body of water where water gathers due to sort of a bit of a slope downhill, and then they obviously added the pump. I'm not exactly sure which year the pump was added, so that there could be a permanent supply of water. That could very well have been when the reserve was formed and fences put up, and they knew that they needed to supply water. But I'm sure there's always been some sort of a natural seepage here where water collects, therefore turning it into a waterhole the more it was used by these animals. How beautiful is this scene? These been beautiful cumulus clouds in the sky, little cotton fluff balls, as I like to think of them. And often, once a cold front has passed, we get these beautiful, fluffy cotton clouds in the sky, and it's a sign of good weather to come. And we have this elephant bull walking off on a game path which has been formed by thousands of animals before him. Well, these bulls are now deciding to rest under this beautiful fig tree. Fig trees have a very iconic trunk with these sort of almost tube like ridges that come down where the roots have dropped in to form the trunk, and very, very light bark, almost white in color, with those very green leaves. And it provides some beautiful shade where these elephants can come have a bit of a rub against the trunk and then also just rest. Belinda, yes, the texture on that tree is beautiful. It is, isn't it? It is absolutely stunning. Jenna, you say it's nice to have a place where you can just relax and unwind. Well, welcome to the ultimate place for relaxation and unwinding. I'm so glad that WildEarth is here so that you feel that the show allows you to do that. So important that we make time for that as well in the very busy lives that we all live. And I think it's wonderful that through Live at the Waterhole and the other shows that we do, but there's something very special about this one because we are watching waterhole feeds that are in one location. We get to spend a lot of time with an animal, not driving around and being shown different things. We interpreting what we're seeing as it happens, and we just have to take what we get and enjoy it. And there's something very calming about that, I find, knowing that we don't have to go look for the next sighting, but rather just see what is being shown or happening live and then enjoying it, Jenna. So I do hope you enjoy this time. I'm not sure how long you're going to be with us today, but at least you are going to have some relaxation. Henry, you say that the tree looks like it gives really good shade. Yes, absolutely. It's got those beautiful green leaves. Fig trees usually do, and they make quite a thick canopy, which not a lot of sunlight can penetrate through. So if you're ever in the bush and you need to um, find some shade from the heat of the day, a fig tree, a jackleberry, a nyala tree um, are all really good options. They have and a Natal mahogany even more so. I think a Natal mahogany is probably the best tree you could choose. They look a little bit different to this one. A lot more denser canopy and darker bark, but they make an extremely, extremely dense shade that is very nice and cool. Fiona, you're asking if they're having a secret meeting. It does look like it. They've all put their heads behind the trunk of the tree. They've all put their trunks behind the trunk. And it looks like they're chatting away, isn't it? They don't want us to see what they're saying to one another. This particular tree is really the only tall one that I've been able to spot in the sort of the vicinity of this waterhole that we can see with the camera anyway. So it is a favorite one that sometimes these bulls do like to come stand under. Shorter animals such as, for example, buffalo, rhino, they could actually fit under more of like shrubby type bushes. But for eddies, of course, that's a little bit more tricky. So to find a nice tall um, fig tree like this, it's really great for them because these big bulls love to sometimes just go and chill in the shade a bit. Sinak, hello. You say it's great to see the elephants here at Madikwe, and you want to know if I've ever watched the elephants in Zambia feeding on the anna trees. I have not seen that. I have seen videos and, of course, watched documentaries where that has happened, but that is incredible. And I believe Sinak, you're referring to when they go up on their hind legs and reach up with their trunks, if I'm not mistaken. And that is something that I'm yet to witness with my own eyes. But perhaps maybe one day we'll have a camera somewhere there to add onto live at the Waterhole. Who knows? But that would be very cool. It's interesting to watch the behavior of these two bulls here, everyone. The one on the right is clearly a lot smaller and younger. The one on the left is a lot larger and, of course, more dominant than the smaller one. So that sort of interaction isn't really any sort of a challenge by the young one. It's more a means of, I guess, affection in a way, a little bit of interaction. They are very social animals after all. And as a young bull getting used to this bachelor life, he'd still be looking for a little bit of that sort of social interaction with other elephants. And so this would really just be playing, the boys having a little bit of a wrestle. But of course, no real fight or competition between them. I mean, the bigger one is a lot larger and stronger.
Are you in search of a unique, unforgettable adventure in the wild? Imagine living with the animals you see on TV while getting an inside look at how a live safari TV show operates. We're thrilled to offer this experience through our 7, 14 and 28-day EcoCam experiences. To book your spot, visit wildearth.tv/EcoCam. Come and join us for the bush experience of a lifetime.
These two are so interesting to watch. It's actually very sweet, I must say, even though it's a very large male and a younger male. It's a beautiful interaction to witness and try and interpret, and it's through these observations that we get to learn so much about these elephants. Jonah, you love watching these interactions. Yes, so do I. This is incredibly special, everyone. Often with bulls, we see two of normally quite a similar size having a bit of a tussle, their horns and their tusks knocking each other, and there's a little bit of aggression involved. Whereas these two, it's much more familial, affectionate behavior than any sort of a challenge. Darian, you want to know what would be the ultimate treat for an Ellie to eat? Ooh, Darian, I think any sort of fruit would probably be the biggest treat for them. I know they particularly love marula fruits, but I do know that they have quite an affection for citrus. In fact, it caused a little bit of a problem in the Eastern Cape of South Africa at one of our national parks called the Addo Elephant National Park, where the actual park was surrounded by citrus farms, and the Ellies developed this sort of taste for oranges, and they really enjoyed them, and they would actually keep breaking out the reserve and taking oranges, and it would just actually they actually became quite aggressive because of the oranges. And at one point it was passed down from generation to generation, and eventually that's now out, and those generations have passed away, and now you don't have to worry about it. But there was a stage at Addo where you weren't even allowed to bring any citrus into the park, whether that was oranges or clementines, or in South Africa we have what's called a nachi, or sort of a soft citrus type of fruit, and they loved it so much. So I'm sure that any sort of fruit, particularly a citrusy type of fruit, would be a very big treat for an elephant. Oh, Mel, who's with us today, she wants to know if they would like watermelons, and I'm not sure, Mel. That is a very good question. I think that they would. I think they would eat a watermelon, absolutely. Whether they'd, really be like, this is absolutely unbelievable. I guess it would depend how they react. I don't know if anyone's ever fed an elephant watermelon before, but I don't see why they wouldn't like it. And then Jordan's also wondering if they would like mango. I think that they would just take that fruit and eat it and enjoy it. And then I'm not sure what's going to happen on the other end though with things like mango, in terms of pips and all. But I suppose they'll just come out in the dung as a whole mango pip. We're just going to have a quick look back around the water just in case there is something that has arrived. Just the Egyptian geese that are here. But it is good to always make sure, just in case something's arrived while we've been watching the Ellies in their secret meeting. But I think we're going to keep our eyes on Jamala as always. Make sure that we don't miss anything if it does come down to drink here at Jamala. But I think for now, why don't we go check in and say good afternoon at Okakuyo. Ah, well, some clouds in the sky today here. The beautiful Okukuyo. Oh, I hear a European bee eater. Maybe we'll see them drop down to drink. And then sometimes they even perch in that camel thorn tree there on the left.
This immersive program will give you an in-depth understanding of the African bush in as little as 7 days. You'll be guided by expert trainers who will lead you through the various ecosystems of Africa and teach you essential bush skills. Join Eco Training's 7 or 14-day EcoQuest course and you will receive 500 Rand off whether you sign up locally or internationally using this promo code. Further your journey as a true bush enthusiast today.
Well, it is all still very calm and peaceful here at Okukuyo. We have a few springbuck drinking, but I do see what looks like some zebra approaching in the distance. It's just what I love about this waterhole. There was nothing here when we arrived in terms of anything looked like it was approaching. And now we have some zebra who I didn't even notice until just now when they got a little bit closer. So who knows what's on its way to drink? Well, they are getting closer, everyone. I've just been watching. They're being very um, cautious, let me say. More like a giraffe than zebra usually are. But they are slowly coming closer and closer. I think there's an oryx there as well, or gemsbok, just behind this group of springbuck who are now drinking. And those little bleep bleep are the European bee eaters that I often speak about here at Okukuyo. I love their call. Definitely on my list of favorites. And it's one of those calls. I think some of my favorite calls are the ones that are only here in the summertime from the migratory birds, and European bee eaters are one of those. Just because when you hear them, the first time after winter, you sort of like, oh, what was that? That's different. And then it hits you that it's, for example, a European bee eater. And that's rather exciting. Well, there they are, everyone. Seems like they're enjoying the sun. I'm not sure. But I suppose what's the rush? I mean, they've walked so far, they can just take a little bit longer to get to the water. I think there are some closer ones, though, if I'm not mistaken. Um, Maybe making sure that there's no predators lying in the shade waiting to come out, but I don't think so. Sarah, hello. Absolutely agree with you. I don't know how these animals do it. We often comment about how blistered our feet would be walking over these rocks, or how difficult it must be to balance, or how these animals are able to navigate through, but they do so with ease. And in the beginning of the show, we were talking about blisters actually, and interesting to talk about it again, mention it with these rocks, but of course, with their hooves and feet being adapted the way they are, they don't have to worry about that. But I would definitely slip and fall and hurt myself, absolutely. It's actually the first time I'm noticing almost sheets of rock here and not just broken up. I think most of this is limestone. It's almost a complete layer that's obviously breaking up over time, forming these smaller pieces of rock. Kenneth, hello. You want to know which animals are the clumsiest? Ooh, that is tricky. I don't know, everyone. What do you think? Which animals are the clumsiest? I think sometimes a giraffe can look quite clumsy just because of their sort of size, and often when they come down to drink, they look a little bit clumsy. But I don't know if there's any others. So if you have an idea, please send it through. I'd love to get some ideas from all of you watching. What else is quite clumsy? I suppose elephants, when they're mud wallowing, sometimes look a bit clumsy. This big body sort of rolling over. When they sit down, they look a bit clumsy. Jeremy, yes, absolutely. Elephants getting out of the water look pretty clumsy. I mean, we were watching a few days ago, probably one of the best sightings I've had on the show, here at Jamala, where we were previously now. And there was a little elephant. He tried once, twice, three times to get out of the waterhole, and just its little feet just couldn't grip, and it kept sliding like slow motion slide down the bank, and into the water, toppled over.
Eco Training's professional field guide course can make your dreams a reality. This comprehensive program comprises 5 months of theoretical and practical training in the African bush with highly qualified instructors in multiple locations. Enroll today and receive 5,000 Rand off using the promo code. If you've just finished school or tertiary education and you want to head into the wild, Eco Training's professional field guide course is for you.
Well, the zebras did eventually come to drink, and now they are slowly making their way back. And quite a few birds flying around. I do think some of them may be the European bee eaters. I can hear them calling. There we go. Yes, this is the flock of them. And they are a really beautiful bird. They, of course, migrate from Europe, as their name suggests. And if you are able to look up a photo of one, it's very difficult to get them in flight, especially with a camera, unless they do land and we're able to see them perched. But they have a very unique coloration. All bee eaters have quite a strong beak in shape. Oh, there's some kudus coming on. Oh, impalas actually from the left hand side. But the bee eaters have that very sort of a long black beak that's quite sharply curved, and that has a black eye line that goes right through the eye and the face, and then they vary in coloration and size after that. And the European bee eater has this sort of mostly sort of a lighter blue color, but then a little bit lighter on the back. Sort of a rufusy color, browny color on the head, with some orange and green on the back, and a lighter face, and a beautiful blue chest. So the bee eaters are some of my favorite birds color-wise that we get. Kingfishers, of course, are another one. They have beautiful, beautiful colors, but the bee eaters are also very, very pretty. Well, there are a few more gemsbok that have now come to drink, everyone. We're going to see if we can get a little bit closer to look at them. They really are beautiful antelopes. There are actually some more coming in the background. So I think we're going to have quite a few drinking here in the end. There's also a blacksmith lapwing on the closest side of the waterhole. And these lapwings had some chicks recently. So we just got to keep our eyes on it. There's a little sort of dark dot moving around. By this stage, they've got a little bit more of their coloration. So they're not quite newborn. Newly hatched, should I say, not born, but hatched. Newly hatched. They're a little bit bigger than a hatchling, and they sort of a white fluff ball, but now they're starting to get that sort of gray and black coloration on their backs like the adults.
Hickory dickory dock, the kids ran to the spot. The clock struck 4, the kids sat down, hickory dickory dock. Our kids safaris bring interactive entertainment and learning to the future protectors of our world for 1 hour every weekday during our safari drives. Watch it live on your nearest device. Don't miss out on the fun. WildEarth, it's in your nature. Well, these gemsbok are beautiful, aren't they? There's also some pied crows that are a small little flock of them there on the left. They came down for a drink.
Well, everyone, I can't believe it, but it is almost 1 p.m. here, according to Central African time. And we are going to soon be joined by Africam. So, for those of you who don't know, we get access to a few of the Africam locations now from 1 p.m. And if you are watching on YouTube, this will be the time to change over to the WildEarth app or website. Otherwise, if you're in the UK, you can carry on watching on the Freeview channel or in South Africa on DSTV channel 183.